Hello class, my name is Scott Hamilton, and for my instruction video I'm going to show you how to operate home oxygen. Typically patients with respiratory conditions or heart conditions have to go home with the use of supplemental oxygen. In other words, their bodies are not making enough oxygen to maintain proper levels. The proper levels for oxygen in the bloodstream is anything over 88%. Generally speaking, you want to be towards the higher end, or you want to be closer to 98%. And that allows your heart to work a lot less harder. So I'm going to talk about how to operate home oxygen equipment. I'm going to show you the two different pieces, and I'm also going to answer some of the typical questions that people have when they themselves or their loved ones received oxygen. So the first thing that we normally have to do is we have to take what's called portable oxygen to the patients. Okay, the portable oxygen looks something like this. This is an oxygen cylinder with a regulator attached to it, and this device is called a cannula. This is the device that they put in their nose. See how it's curved? That's the part that goes in their nose, okay? So the first thing I do is I show the patients how to turn on the oxygen. Now, my experience in the business is I can sit here and talk all day, but people work a lot better with visual cues. So what I will do is I will show them how to start the flow of oxygen. Okay, typically most people, about 80% of people, go home on what's called 2 liters per minute. That's 2 liters of oxygen per minute. What you can do with your portable is you can set the device to 2. Right there, you can see the number 2. Okay, so now going back to the visual cues that I like to give people, I tell them to take their oxygen key and put it on the same side as the number. Key and the number. And then you want to give it a half a turn in a direction, or going back to my visual theme, you have them pull it towards them. Okay, what you'll see is that a full tank is 2,000 psi. That black arrow is up near the number 2,000, and this will last about 4 hours. Now 4 hours is plenty of time for them to get home in the Las Vegas Valley. Most people don't live far away from the hospitals that they are assigned to. They did a pretty good job of setting the hospitals up in all 4 corners of the city, and a couple right in the middle. So it doesn't take people 4 hours to get home. But when you tell them that they have 4 hours with this tank, it gives them a little bit of peace of mind. Okay? So now what they'll do is they'll get into their wheelchair, they'll be taken out, they'll drive home, they'll go all the way home, and they'll call our company. And what our company will do is we'll bring out a concentrator, which is a device that makes oxygen in the home. But I'll get to that in a second. So going back to my point of visual cues, when it's time to turn this off, I tell them to take their key, point it directly at them, like it's pointing at you right now, and we'll give it a half a turn and push it away. And that's a real good visual cue, because most people, when they don't want something, what do? You push it away. So I tell them to push that oxygen away. That shuts it off. What we'll see is that now the needle is down to 0, which is where we want it to be, because now it is off and it's completely safe. Okay? So next up comes the home oxygen concentrator. This device is a home oxygen concentrator. Okay? Typically we try to find a centralized location inside the home to which they can make sure that they can get to all points of their home with this nice long extension tubing. Okay? Well, let's go back to the concentrator for a second. The concentrator just plugs right into the wall directly. It has an on-off switch, and it has a liter flow control knob. And then there's also obviously the output for where the oxygen is going to be. The oxygen tube is going to be connected to the patient so that they can wear it around their house while they conduct their activities of daily living. Okay? First thing you want to do is you want to turn it on. Now, with the clientele and the patients that I see, generally are older patients, and they don't like to be startled or surprised by anything. So I will tell them, when I hit this switch, you're going to hear a loud beep. You're going to see 3 lights. So let's see if we can make that happen. Okay, the warning lights stay on for about 4 seconds. The green light stays on, letting you know you have good oxygen. If the yellow or the red light were to come on at any time while you are operating this machine, you're to give us a call right away, because that means there's something wrong. These devices have an onboard computer, and what that computer does is it detects low flow and low oxygen. So right now it's constantly testing that oxygen to see, hey, is it over 88%? Actually, we like to have them over 92% because that's more therapeutic for the patients. Okay? So I'm going to come over here and we're going to look at this tube right here. This tube has the numbers 1 through 5. They represent 1 through 5 liters of oxygen. Typically, patients go home on about 80% oxygen. I'm sorry, 80% of the patients go home on 2 liters, okay? If you're going up to 3, 4, and 5, then you're just a little bit sicker and you need more oxygen. But generally speaking, 2 liters is what's required, okay? This machine is nothing but a big filter. What it does is it filters out the air, brings the oxygen level up over 90%, which is therapeutic, okay? There's no maintenance for the patient. Years ago, machines had to be cleaned at least once a week. This machine does not have to be cleaned in order for it to function well. And that's a goal of the designer of this particular model. Okay, so we turn it on, plug our tube in, that's it. And people sit back and they look at me in amazement. That's all I have to do? And I'm like, yeah, that's all you have to do for home oxygen. Now, some of the typical questions that I get is, well, how does this provide oxygen for me? How it provides oxygen for you is that the air that I'm breathing right now and you're breathing while you're watching this is only about 20% oxygen. Yep, that's what I said. It's only 20% oxygen. The other gases are nitrogen, which is about 79%, and then they throw in some other stuff that I can't even pronounce, so I don't even bother to memorize. But yeah, it's only about 19%. What this device will do is this device will filter out that nitrogen, which is another harmless, odorless gas. It'll purge it out in the machine. It'll get that oxygen level concentrated up to a level up over 92%, which is therapeutic. Okay? If you can hear it kind of cycling through. When you hear that purge, that's the nitrogen being pushed out and the oxygen level being concentrated in here. That's it. It's just that simple. Another typical question is, well, can I continue to smoke? Well, no, obviously you can't continue to smoke. Oxygen is not flammable, but it is highly combustible. What it'll do is it'll take a flame about the size of my fingertip here and make it about this big. So you want to be at least 5 feet away from oxygen. You don't want to smoke with oxygen. You don't want to be near any open flame or candles. Okay? And that's it. That's how I set up home oxygen, probably 4 or 5 times a day. On a good day, 4 or 5 times a day, maybe about 20 per week. If you have any other interest in oxygen, just reach out to me and email me. But typically what I tell patients is we're available 24 hours a day. If you have any questions or comments with regards to oxygen, just give us a call. Thank you for your time.